see if we're live. We're trying to go live anyway. Check on some things here. Oh my goodness. What's happening? Let me know when y'all get in here. Well, I've gotten so loose with the delivery on the live streams. If we are live, please drop me a comment. Let me know you're here. I'm going to act as if, even though I'm not sure what is going on there. I'm seeing some comments. All right, we're off and running. Welcome back to another Thursday Night Live out here in East Texas, Lake Fork area. And what a beautiful, beautiful week it is. The fish are starting to bite better. The better quality fish are showing up in some of those easier, more obvious type of scenarios where you can kind of just go fishing and catch you a few good ones along with some good numbers this time of year, because it is the fall. And the fall is absolutely the time of year to catch the best numbers. If you have a kid, if you have someone that's new to fishing, a buddy that hasn't done it a lot, that's wanting to get into bass fishing and wanting to get serious about learning how to catch largemouth bass in tournament bass fishing style, or the way we do it with artificial lures and all that, the thing that we're all about, right now is the time to take them. It'll never be easier to catch numbers of bass than it is over the next month. So we got another cold front coming in here. It'll hit us here in just a couple hours. Going to push through in the morning, and that'll drop the water temps even more going into next week, and it should just get better and better and better and better and better. So I'm really excited. It is arguably my favorite time of year. I don't know, man. It's hard to argue against the springtime and all that, but golly, I sure do like the fall, because look, football's going on. There's a lot of hunters, duck hunters, deer hunters that are off the water as far as fishing goes. The bass are biting real good. They bite in big numbers. If you find a group of them, it's like something that you don't see the rest of the year when you find that. And the lake's less crowded. It is a beautiful time to be out bass fishing. So, let me see who all we got in here tonight. Let me see if I can't pull this up. We got Landon Farmer, ZZ Tank, Kenneth Flagg, Colton Dock, Got a Bite, C-Bot, Bigfoot Bass Guy, John B, Random Skills, Gerardo Alvarez, Jeff Robinson, Ryan Hall, Crappie-itis. My goodness, there's a bunch of you guys in here. Man, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Stephen Latham is in the house. Tim Rhodes is in the house. John Kincaid, Joe Camarino. I saw somebody ask me, what is my favorite jig rod? See if I can put my hands on one somewhere around here. I've got enough rods laying around. I gotta find the right one that I'm looking for here. I'm off screen. Let's see. Well, it's here somewhere. I don't know. This isn't the right model, but I think that the 7.7 Heavy in the Sensory series, you see I got a frog title on this one, has braid on it, but you put fluorocarbon, 20-pound fluorocarbon on this rod right here, and this is my favorite jig setup. I have never, ever, ever had a rod as sensitive. This is the most light and sensitive rod I've ever had, yet this is a 7.7 Heavy, and you can absolutely wrench them fish on a jig up out of any kind of coverage you want to. So for the fall and winter jig fishing, which we primarily focus on fishing those jigs in creek channel swings and a little bit deeper water, I really, really like that 7.7 Heavy Sensory series rod. We went right into Q&A. Somebody's asking me if I'm fishing tomorrow. I am. We're going to start a little later because of the weather, but I am fishing tomorrow. And we do have a free seminar at Lake Fork Marina tomorrow evening. So if you guys are in the Lake Fork area, please stop by. I would love to meet each and every one of you that I can. We will be there. The man that makes it happen, they call him Captain. He is coming back. He will be back. Somebody left a hat in my garage, and I don't even know where it came from. It's funny. Anyway, Captain is coming back tomorrow for the seminar, so he'll be back at the seminar tomorrow night. It should be a good one. I know he's going to talk about something that's a lot of fun, a little bit of buzz bait action and all that stuff. So, let's get into top 5 baits. Let's get after it. I cannot begin to tell you guys just how good this bait right here has been. This Clout 6 cents Clout stick bait, 5-inch stick bait. I know they're almost impossible to find right now. There's more coming in December, but we're obviously just Texas rigging it weedless, weightless on a 3/0 heavy wire EWG hook. Man, guys, it's the best stick bait. Like, it just, I can't tell you how many days that catches the vast majority of the fish in my boat here lately over the last month. It's been unbelievable. It continues to be unbelievable. Uh, Even this week with the weather cooling down, the fish get more active. It's just hard to catch more fish than you will on this one, and it catches big fish too. There's something to the way that thing's built. It's really soft. It's a little bit skinnier than most of your stick baits, and when you put that 3-aught heavy gauge hook on it, it just has a shimmy. When it falls, man, it gets them to go. It gets them to trigger. It gets them to bite. It's if you can get your hands on some, I highly suggest getting it and throwing that bait. Another bait that's coming into play, we talked about it, the swim baits with the underspin. I am rigging this on an underspin, but I have one laying loose, so I grabbed it. The Baby Poacher. I've switched from the Smash Tail Junior, a little bit more of a finesse kick. This has a little more aggressive action to it, but they're getting more aggressive. The Baby Poacher is a great bait to throw right now, and in the weeks going forward, I will be experimenting with the full-size Poacher and the Smash Tail Convict and the Wax Shads, the bigger swim baits, the glide baits. The glide baits will I will start to throw those, so if I start getting bit on those, I'll let y'all know. But for right now, the Baby Poacher is a great bait to throw on a underspin hook. Hey, a bait that's coming back into play for me. Starting to catch a few more fish on it again. And I tell you, it may have been me not picking up on a clue again, but we went from that Impact Shad trailer on the chatterbait to the Smash Tail Junior on the chatterbait. And wouldn't you know, as the temps cool off, you change from that skinny fast action trailer, you go to that swim bait paddle tail type trailer, and hey, we start getting more bites. Now, when we get colder, we will go to the Live Magic Shad as a trailer, a little bit bulkier, more deliberate tail wag, you might say. So, chatterbait with a Smash Tail Junior. So small swim bait. You can use whatever small swim bait you want, but I like the Smash Tail Junior on the chatterbait. Shad pattern. Everything shad pattern, shad pattern, shad pattern. That's what we're doing right now. So, I'm missing something here. The Movement 80X. A little shallow diving crankbait. The Movement 80X. I've got one right here, I believe. Yep. The Movement 80X has been a big player for me as well. Real shallow diving crankbait, real hard thumping. This will catch your bigger fish. It does not catch a lot of fish right now. It will. I bet by this next week we'll start catching a lot of fish on it. But for right now, it's not catching a lot of fish, but we are catching our better fish on the Movement 80X most days. I say most days because the last couple days there's been something new for us to talk about. This will be bait number 5. And the something new is something that is awesome. Because this bait, you can cover tons of water in a flat and get it done. But we went to the bigger, the old Quake 70, the ½ ounce. I believe this one's actually 5/8 ounce. But the bigger lipless crankbait, the Quake 70 from 6th Sense Fishing. And this is, I believe this is shad greens, but don't get a shad color. It's about shad this time of year. The fish are totally focused on shad, and your bait should be the bait you throw should look like shad most of the time right now. But the Quake 70, the regular with the BBs, has been working good for me. You can go to the Thud, one knocker if you prefer, but the BBs has been working good. This has caught our 2 biggest fish the last 2 days in a row. So, Quake 70 is coming into play. They're off the small trap, and what that tells me, guys, is the fall bite is really going, because they were on that smaller profile 1/4 ounce trap, the smaller profile swim baits and stuff like that. Now we're starting to upsize our stuff a little bit, and that tells me that those bigger shad and those bigger bass are getting back into those creeks in a big way, because they don't start biting those bigger baits until they're focused on bigger baits. So, and I saw a huge pod of big hand-sized gizzard shad as far back in the creek as I could get my boat this week. So it's definitely happened. It's definitely progressing. The fall bite is here. It's here. It started. It's not at the peak yet, but it has started. And if you can't tell, I'm a little bit of a Toys R Us kid right now. Like, I don't want this to end. I just wanted to freeze frame time right now, because this is awesome, and it's going to be awesome for the next couple months. I'm so wound up. All right, let me see if I can get us to some questions here. What is my favorite swim jig setup? Man, this guy wants to ask about all my rods. For a swim jig, it depends on how heavy a cover I'm throwing it in. If I'm throwing it in some real heavy grass, pad stem, stuff like that, then I want to throw it on like my 7.6 heavy, my 7.5 extra heavy, 6th Sense Lux rod with 50 or 65 pound braid, where I can really rip it in and out and work it through that heavy cover. When I get a big fish on, I can control him in that heavy cover. But if I'm fishing more open water, I'll throw it on something like the 7.5 medium heavy Divine series with 20-pound fluorocarbon or 17-pound fluorocarbon. So it just depends on how heavy the cover is that you're fishing it in. Do I use the larger lipless crankbaits? Yes, absolutely. I use the 3/4 1 ounce version of the Quake 70. I believe it's the Quake 80 or Quake 90, something like that. It's just the next step up. I do use that one when I am fishing deeper grass. Right now we're going to the backs of the creeks. We're fishing very, very, very shallow. So I'm using the 1/2 ounce version. That bigger one will just dig in that super shallow water. But if I have a deeper grass line, say in 6, 8, 10 feet of water, like we do on Lake Athens, like some of you guys sometimes have on Rayburn, Lake Welsh has that. In those, Brandy Branch is another one. In those situations, I do like to go to the bigger trap to help keep it down, get it down in that deeper grass on the outside edges of it, and cover that outside edge. That's a very effective pattern, especially later in the fall and on in throughout the winter. Can I talk about the pattern and how I'm fishing the top 5? Well, I kind of tried to do that in a brief way as I went through it, but yeah, I mean, it's the backs of the creeks. I mean, the bait and the bigger bass are all, like the bigger fish, the better fish, the quality fish that you want to come to Lake Fork and catch, the 4 and 5 pounders, all that stuff. They are showing up. They are starting to show up in the obvious areas. The stuff that looks good visually. You go to the back of the creek, you see the grass lines, you see the scattered grass, you see the stumps sticking out of the water, you see the flooded vegetation lines. Those obvious areas are starting to hold these better fish. And the big key is just covering a lot of water till you find one of two things. Either obvious signs of bass, you catch a couple, maybe you see them schooling on bait a little bit, those are obvious signs of bass, or an overwhelming amount of bait. So if you see so much bait that you're just like, it's mind-boggling, you need to slow down and fish right there. So you just cover tons of water in the backs of these creeks till you find one of those two obvious things, and then you settle in, slow down, and you can kind of be real thorough and pick apart every inch with your moving baits, and also slow down with that clout stick bait and really pick them apart that way. That's how I'm doing it. That's exactly what I'm doing every day right now. I'm not really getting keyed in on fishing one area or fishing going starting this. I'm really fishing kind of off the cuff of my sleeve, just kind of running down the lake going, yeah, let's run in there real quick, and covering it until I see those obvious signs, and then if we do, we slow down. If we don't, we move on. So are you, let's see, did I have a glide bait on my top 5? I don't have a glide bait on my top 5. Part of the problem, and I'm going to tell you guys, over the next couple months as we go forward, there's so many different baits that can work right now. There's always going to be baits that are good to throw that I don't have in my top 5. I am going to have a glide bait tied on starting right now going forward on my deck of my boat, and I will be experimenting with it, but I have not been catching fish on it yet. So it's not in the top 5, but I haven't really been throwing it yet, but I'm about to start throwing it. So, you know, am I telling you don't go throw a glide bait this weekend? No, that's not what I'm telling you. If you are a swim bait fisherman and you want to go try to catch a big one, right now is a good time to go throw a glide bait, and over the next 2 months, it will be consistently. But I didn't put it in the top 5 because I haven't really been using it lately. So that's the answer on that. Am I ripping the lipless crankbait out of the grass similar to how you fish the chatterbait, or bouncing it off stumps? Well, you can't bounce a lipless crankbait off stumps. It'll snag a stump. A lipless crankbait will absolutely snag a stump as good as any bait out there. So you want to keep it away from the stumps. But yes, we are throwing the bait out there, making super long casts with it, holding our rod straight out, reel, slow down, just keep reeling, slow down, just as long as you can feel it vibrating. And then as soon as we start to feel it hit grass, we snap it. And keep reeling, speed it up a little bit, and then start feeling for that grass again, slowing down. As soon as it hits grass, rip, speed it up a little bit, then slow it down. That's how we're doing the lipless crankbait. Is the water temp in the 70s? Yes, the water temp is in the 70s. 100%. It, even in the peak of the afternoon, even with the 90-degree temps we had the last couple of days, the water never got out of the 70s, and it's about to get real cold this weekend for around here. So it's there to stay. It's fall is here. It's not going anywhere. What's the best depth of the water to be fishing in right now on Fork? I believe that what they call this depth is the dirt. That's the best depth. I mean, they're shallow. They have pushed back, so they are really, really shallow. In the winter, am I going to do a video about video game fishing, drop shotting using graphs? I'll have to bring somebody on to do it because I'm like the world's worst drop shot fisherman. You know, in the wintertime around here, we do a lot of shallow fishing still because, you know, it's basically around January 1. There's parts of the lake where pre-spawn starts January 1 here. There's fish that spawn in February every year on Lake Fork. So we're really thinking, you know, for some of the bigger fish, they will get ganged up in little shallow creek channels towards the backs of the creeks as early as January. So we really take that jig and put it in creek bends and, you know, different depths of creek bends in the wintertime. That's what I like doing. Also, if I have grass in the wintertime, I like fishing that lipless crankbait and that chatterbait throughout the winter as well. I do a lot of that. You know, there is a little bit of that jig and spoon / drop shot bite that happens in the wintertime. It's not something I do a whole lot, so I'm not going to promise you that we will feature that, but I will try. If I can find somebody, maybe David Ozio, he's really good with that drop shot. Maybe if we can get him on here, he can show us how to do that in the wintertime. In the spring, I need to come to Santee Cooper and flip the cypress trees. I agree, I do. Now, whether I'll have the time to get all the way over to Santee Cooper and do it, I would love to come back to South Cackalack. I used to live in South Carolina, so I would love to come back and fish Santee Cooper again. It is an awesome lake. How long will they stay shallow? Well, so there's something that you got to understand is we have fish shallow year-round in this area. There's always fish shallow. Throughout the heat of the summer, there's fish shallow. Throughout the dead of winter, there's fish shallow. So, but what you're referring to is the majority of the fish. How long will they stay shallow? Well, we've already got some fish that are grouping back up offshore that are going to be pulling back out. And I imagine with this cold front, those offshore groups of fish will really get going in this next week. So you'll kind of have both. You'll have both extremes. The very back of the creek and way out offshore will both be going at the same time. And then some of those fish will pull back out when the water starts getting down below 60. So whenever that is, that might be December, that might be Thanksgiving, I don't know. It usually lasts at least through November, and then kind of in December, those fish pull back out. And then January, summer, the early ones are back there already, and then as we get into February, more pull back, and as we get to March, blah, blah, blah. So that's kind of how it goes. That's a very open-ended question because there's always good fish shallow in this area right here that I live in. Is there a seminar tomorrow night? Yeah, we have a seminar tomorrow night at Lake Fork Marina. We said it at the very beginning, but in case you missed it, seminar is going tomorrow night. Cap's going to be back. Captain Ron will be back at the seminar tomorrow night. So come join us, man. We'd love to meet each and every one of you guys. And we will be there at 6 p.m. at Lake Fork Marina. Free to all. Come join us. Do I fish the FLW? I do not fish any tournaments. Every once in a while, I'll go fish like a local tournament somewhere. I think last winter, me and Ronnie, they have weekly tournaments at one of the Power Point lakes, Lake Welsh. We fished one of those last winter. That's the last time I fished a tournament. And the last time I did before that was a guides tournament they did winter before last. So here's the deal. For me, I've got them youngins in there and that wife, I got to take care of them first. And this is my business now. And as a business, tournament fishing doesn't make any sense, guys. You don't make money, even if you do good. Like if I was to fish the Coastal Series and finish in the top 5 in the Angler of the Year points, I'm not gonna make a profit. Like you're just not. So between travel expenses and lodging and tournament entries and all that, you're just not gonna make money doing that. And I can stay here and make a profit every day that I run a guide trip. So that's kind of how I do it. Maybe down the road, if I can get to a financial position where it's okay for me to lose some of that income, then yeah, I would absolutely love to fish tournaments. I love fishing tournaments, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense business-wise for me right now. Will the Whopper Plopper work? You know what? I haven't thrown it. I should be throwing it. It's a great bait to throw this time of year. Right now would be a great time to start throwing a Whopper Plopper. We're going to have a lot of baits that can work over the next 2 months. I mean, you could throw a spinnerbait right now. You could throw a Texas rig. God, Texas rig, just ribbon-tailed Texas rig worm can be one of the very best baits right now. A frog can be really good right now. Man, there's so many ways to do it in the fall. You can kind of pick what you like the best and go get after it. Ben Shobe in the house. Timmy Rose. Tim is my old tournament partner. We used to fish in tournaments together. Tim said 4 years ago we killed it in tournament. We had a pretty good run. Me and Tim, we were a fortunate pairing. We worked really well on the boat together, and it was just, you know, if you've ever fished team tournaments, it's not easy to find a great partner that fits you really well. And we fit each other really well. And it seemed like on days where I didn't catch him, he did. And on days where he didn't catch him, I did. In fact, there weren't very many tournaments that we fished where we both caught them real good. It was usually one or the other, and we just missed each other like that. And decision making was never an issue. We never really argued over anything. It was kind of a really good pairing, and we had a good time, that's for sure. And we did well. We won some money. Does the pattern change much through the day? Not right now. That's one of the beautiful things. They get so focused on bait. I will say this, sometimes, right now it seems like this week, it takes them a little while to get going in the morning. You would think first thing in the morning, cool air, they'd be getting after it. They don't. I don't know if it's because they're so visual chasing those shad that they need a little sunshine to help them get going. Need a little light penetration to help them focus in on those shad. But right now, it seems like they're not just jumping in the boat right off the bat. Well, if you get to about 8:30, 9 o'clock, it starts getting pretty good. And then it's kind of off and on. You know, you just got to hunt to find them. And when you find them, it's pretty good throughout the day. They'll bite throughout the day, all day long. Of the power plant lakes on your app, which specific lake do you think will be the first one to fire up and get going with its upcoming cooler weather? Well, we have some complications with the power plant lakes. Monticello's been taken off the app because it's closed to the public. Lake Welsh, we haven't been able to update it because I can't get my boat in the water on Lake Welsh. The lake is so low, it's very difficult to launch. You almost need a four-wheel drive. It's kind of sketchy to get out there right now. And you can't run the lake at all right now because it's so low. There's stumps everywhere that there's normally not. So the power plant lakes are kind of in a bind right now. Martin Creek is a big enough lake that it kind of fishes both like a power plant lake and like a regular lake, depending on which part of it you're on, because it's a really big power plant lake. And the heated water part is kind of isolated and walled off to itself. So it's kind of a unique deal. So Martin Creek has the same type of patterns that normal lakes have, along with having the advantage of having the hot water in the wintertime. Brandy Branch, it's a small lake. You know, Brandy Branch should be getting real good real fast. They'll be in like, within the next month, Brandy Branch fish will be in pre-spawn mode. And Lake Welsh fish will be as well within the next month in a pre-spawn mode, but it's hard to get to the Lake Welsh fish right now. So, and I don't know what the deal is with the grass out there because the water's so low. I don't know how much grass is still left in the lake. I haven't been able to get out there, so I don't really know what to tell you on Welsh. Have I fished Lake Murray? No, I have not fished. I've never fished Lake Murray. Am I fishing rocks yet or focusing more on the grass? You know, if you've got grass, I would focus on grass. Rocks are good though. You know, I was at Louisville and there were some fish on the rocks in Louisville last week. Yeah, rocks are not a bad way to do it right now. But if you have grass, I think grass is kind of the X factor. It always trumps everything. If you've got good, healthy, underwater aquatic vegetation like coontail, hydrilla, milfoil, to me that's always the best cover for a bass. What is this full moon going to do? I'll tell you what that full moon might do. When is the full moon? Is it next week? I don't even know. I guess it's coming up this next week. So this is top secret guide trick. Don't tell nobody. Shh. Are you ready? With this cold snap, that water is going to get down to 70. Maybe even a little under. It'll be around the 70 mark-ish. I'm not telling you to go spend your whole day looking for this. But you might want to start looking for some beds. They do spawn in the fall. When you get a moon cycle that correlates with 65 to 70 degree water temps, there will be some fish that will spawn in the fall. Not a lot, But I've seen it. I've literally caught them off a bed, saw them on a bed, set up on them just like in the springtime, and caught them off that bed in the fall, in October and November. So this moon cycle hitting right when this water's about to cool off to that temperature, it would not surprise me if some fish started jumping on beds. Other than that, I don't think the moon cycle, as far as the typical fall stuff, the moon's not really going to affect them. I mean, maybe they'll feed a little more at night or something like that. It's not really going to. The fish are pushing in based on water temperature and daylight period. They ain't worried about that moon right now. They're just worried about bait fish, the vast majority of the fish. So, but little sneaky tip: be on the lookout for a few surprise bedfish to show up in some areas if you know where to look for them. When does the grass start to die off in the shallows? Is there a certain type of water temp? Yeah, so the grass will kind of start dying back when the water gets down to like 60 and below. That's when you'll start to notice the grass. It just, the tops come off the mats. The scattered grass gets a little more sparse, stuff like that. So. Saw the wacky vid. Do you only use casting reels, or do you use spinning and casting on fork? I only use bait casters. I do not use a spinning rod. There's someone that would tell me that's the wrong way to do it, but I can put 12-pound line on a bait caster with a medium action rod and sling that wacky worm around. That's the lightest bait that I ever throw anyway, and it slings it just fine. And I can keep up and have more power and more speed and more control with a bait caster than I can with a spinning rod. And on Lake Fork, with the fish that we have, and really it's about the cover, the type of cover we have. You got to be able to control that fish and keep him out and catch up to him and get him out of that stuff. I just would much rather have a bait caster. Plus, spinning rods are for girls. Do I think they'll ever be able to reopen Monticello? You know, it doesn't look great right now. The Monticello deal, there's been no word passed on anything. There is no foreseeable line to getting it back open, but you know, the dreamer in me and the fisherman in me is hoping that, you know, yes, someday it will get back open, but I have no idea how or when or why. What is your structure / depth right now? We answered this once. We'll answer again. I know you were late, Ben, and you're my homie, so I'm gonna let you know. The bank. We're fishing in the dirt, buddy. We're on the back of the creeks. We're going all the way back. Fishing the Midwest. Everybody say a prayer for Fishing MW. He's going back on dialysis again. He's been fighting a tough battle. Hey, buddy, just listen. Know and understand that we are thinking of you. We are with you in this fight in any way that we can be. Really sorry to hear that you're still having a hard time, man. Keep fighting, man. Just keep fighting. It's important to keep fighting. Don't lose that. Big Todd showing up late. Alrighty. Ryan Hall, I appreciate the comment there, buddy. Thank you very much. Yeah, Ben, just do your thing. You know what to do. You've been there before. Get in the back of them creeks and fish those grass lines and scattered grass. You know how we do it. How do you rig a bubble fry or a ring fry? Usually on a Carolina rig, most of the time. And I like to rig it on a 3. You can use a 3 or a 4-aught EWG hook on that Carolina rig. So I usually throw it either on a finesse Carolina rig up shallow or throw it on the big Carolina rig out deep. Both great baits on the Carolina rig. That's how we do it. And if you want to know what the EWG kind of looks like, we rig it the exact same way that we rig this stick bait right here. So I'll kind of show you this. Basically like that. Let's see if I can get a good handle on this. Like that right there. T-expose it, bring the hook all the way through it, and skin hook it back in the top. Just like that. I don't think Zach Watts is with us tonight, but Zach, if you are, look. I'm wrapping my line. Zach gets mad every time he grabs one of my poles because I wrap that line around the rod like that. It makes him angry. MLF acquires FLW. Your thoughts? Yeah, I mean, this is something that we've heard about for a long time. A lot of people kind of saw this one coming. This was the worst kept secret in fishing that this was going to happen. I have adopted the let's wait and see. Let's wait and see as far as being the fan of professional fishing. I like the Elite Series format, but they just don't have the best fishermen anymore. I want to watch KVD. I want to watch Swindle. I want to watch these guys. I want to watch Hackney. That's the guys I want to watch. Listen, I'm in the fishing industry. I love fishing. And all these guys in the Elite Series are really, really good, but I don't know who most of them are. I've never heard of them. I don't want to watch them. I want to watch Skeet Reese. You know what I mean? I want to watch Aaron Martins. I wish that MLF would do some type of a deal where it was a best 10 or a best 5 or a best whatever to incentivize these guys to try and catch bigger fish. I don't know that that'll ever happen because the TV numbers are going to tell the story. Whatever the TV numbers are is what's going to dictate how these tournaments are run. MLF is formatted the way they are. They got the money they did. They got everybody to come over and structured it the way they did because of the TV numbers on the MLF Cup. So if the MLF Tour, when its TV show finally airs, if it gets those same kind of numbers or better, they're not changing anything. It's working. It's a business. So it's unfortunate. I would much rather see guys target big fish than little fish, I think, like most people would. But something we have to understand as hardcore bass fishermen, as guys that grew up watching tournament fishing, we are the minority even within our own sport. This sport has grown so much by leaps and bounds over the last 5-10 years with the coming on of the college and the high school fishing. There's so many more young people out. The YouTube exposure of all the YouTube channels, the guys that have hit it big, like the Milliken Fishings of the world and the Googans and the this and the that and the other, they have millions of kids watching them, millions of people that didn't bass fish before, that didn't grow up knowing that you're supposed to catch the 5 biggest bass that you can. They're just going out fishing. Most of them don't have a boat to get on. Most of them are going out fishing a pond and trying to get a bite. And I can relate to that because when I was a kid, that's what I did. My dad had a boat. I went fishing on big lakes with my dad, but we didn't tournament fish. But I would go to ponds, whether it was a farm pond, neighborhood pond, whatever, and if I caught a bass, if I figured out a way when I was 10 years old to catch a bass on that stupid little black firetail worm that I had, it felt like a big accomplishment to me. So these people, when they watch these guys on MLF going boom, 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 stroking fish after fish, it blows their mind and they enjoy it, and it's action-packed, and they have the buzzer beater scenario where the people that are watching it on TV in mass numbers can get excited about the scoreboard, which is something we've never had in fishing before. We've never had that kind of drama. We've never had something that was made that well for TV. I don't think the MLF is going to lose. I think they're going to win. And I think it's going to stay a little fish scenario. And, do I wish it was the other way? Yeah, but it is what it is, man. It's not. It's just like these smartphones. No matter how much you dislike the connectivity of today, no matter how much you dislike, I have 2 young boys. I don't like what my kids are going to have access to in the next 10 years. I don't like that they have access to everything that you can access on these phones. I don't like that. But I can't change it. I need to teach them how to use it and use it effectively and be responsible with it. It's the same thing with tournament fishing. It's not going back. The MLF is here. It became the biggest thing in the world in a real quick hurry, and it's not going to change. So if you don't like it, I guess you better leave it. I don't know. It is what it is. Okay, John Jones, this is a good question. Do you suggest buying the 6 cents baits individually, or is the box worth anything? Well, that is going to depend on your personality, on your preference. For me, I'm a control freak, like in a bad way. Like, so when I get baits, I want to know exactly what I'm getting. I want to have an exact purpose for that bait. I would rather buy baits individually. Now, you'll get a discount if you get the box, and they're not going to send you anything that's bad. And really, if you get the tailored box that's tailored for your region and your style of fishing, you take a little survey and fill out some questions to help them out, you're going to get baits that are specifically targeted for the water that you're fishing that time of year, and it's going to be really good stuff. So if you're not as controlling and you kind of like a little bit of everything, then the bait box is a great deal because you get a little discount on it, and it always comes, and you don't have to think about it, and you always have new gear. Me personally, I'm really controlled with what I put in my boat and what I'm using. Like, I'm really picky, I guess is the word. Like, I have as many baits over here on this cabinet behind you as I have in that boat because I'm really picky about what's in that boat at all times. But that's just me. I'm a control freak in that way. So it's your personal preference. Either way, you can't really go wrong buying their product. And if you do go to 6centsfishing.com, you know what to do. Be sure you punch in that code, Your Lake Fork Guide. You'll get a 10% discount on all orders. Stephen Latham says, catching a big fish is still the best feeling in the world. That I can't disagree with. Now, the one thing that I would tell you to remember is, how many times are you mad when you catch a small one? Catching a small fish is not a bad experience, but catching a big fish is an awesome experience. It's an awesome experience, right? Like, it is. It's kind of like, you know what, man? Playing football in high school was a lot of fun. Making the play that won the game was a lot more fun. Like, it just is what it is. If I say it is what it is one more time, you guys all should probably turn me off. I'm tired of hearing myself say it. I apologize for that. I just realized that. What is the latest news on my new boat? That's actually interesting. I actually was meeting with somebody today about that. So I've got to find a buyer. I've got to find a buyer, not for this boat. I've got to find a buyer for the new boat. So if you would like a sweet deal on a custom ordered top of the line FXR 20 that I will rig up the way I like to fish it for you, get it broke in, I'll have to fish in it till next July. But if you're interested in that, you can pick the colors, order it the way you want it, and I can get you a deal on the very best boat that Skeeter offers, the FX Select custom ordered boat. So if you're interested in that, please hit me up on, you can DM me, message me on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. Your Lake Fork Guide. You guys know where to find me on that stuff. Or you can go to yourlakeforkguide.com, send me an email. If you'd be interested in getting some pricing on that, just let me know. So that's the deal going forward. Does everybody know about all the new stuff at 6 Cents? Have y'all seen all the new stuff? We need to wrap it up. We've been going long tonight, but has everybody seen this? I see we got a question on something. On the movement bait, what's the best area to cast around? On the movement 80X, you can fish around scattered grass, but you got to be careful getting around that thick grass. But it really shines around wood. So any type of flooded brush or flooded wood, standing timber, laydowns, it deflects really well off hard cover. And when it deflects so hard it draws a lot of big bites. That's my favorite place to fish that. The new stuff from 6 Cents. If you guys don't know, they got a full line of chip-proof tungsten that is as good as any tungsten on the market. And they've got a full line of hooks for every need you could want as far as bass fishing goes. They've got all the hooks you could ever want, and like everything else they do, it's the best. Like, they don't release anything that is not the very top quality you could possibly find. They have pliers that are unbelievable. They have titanium freaking braid scissors that cut everything, like watch your finger or you'll lose it type deal. They've just got a ton of new stuff. I know I'm forgetting some stuff, but they just keep adding new products. It's really fun to work with them, and it's really fun as a fishing fan to watch this company and see what they're doing and how they're doing it. They're doing everything the right way. Quality, quality, quality. As fair price as you could hope to find on that type of quality product. A great customer service, just good people all the way around. So it's fun being involved with them and watching it happen. So Let's see what else. Man, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. One more time. If you're going to be around Lake Fork tomorrow, please come see us at the seminar. 6 p.m. Lake Fork Marina. Free seminar to all. We can do some more of this. Talk fishing, ask questions, whatever you guys want to do. Captain Ron will be back tomorrow night. So looking forward to having him back in the mix. Finally, our schedules have been missing each other, but that's the way it goes. But like I said, most importantly, more than anything else, we couldn't do any of this without what you guys do. The support you give us through watching the videos, commenting, sharing, telling your buddies, word of mouth, all that type of stuff. We cannot say thank you enough. And the best way I know how to say thank you is I will keep trying to help you in any way as much as I possibly can. Our content will always be focused on helping you guys as much as we can. So that's what we'll keep doing, man. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time right here on your Lake Fork Guide.